Early in the morning, before the sunrise had a chance to slip through the mist, I bent down to pick up an earring that had fallen inside John Carter's car. My husband. That's when I saw the collar. It was hidden deep under the driver's seat, like a secret tucked away in the dark. Shiny, stainless steel, cold to the touch, with a small padlock welded onto a long chain. The other end had a lock too. It was thicker than any pet collar I'd ever seen, but we don't have a dog. John's been afraid of dogs since he was a kid, once got bitten so bad he trembled for hours, never lets a dog near his car. So when the flashlight from my phone hit that piece of metal, my heart clenched. What is this? I asked myself, my hand trembling as I reached for it like it might bite me. Why is this here, in his car? I didn't scream, didn't make a scene. I just stood there in the darkness of the garage, feeling as if the ground beneath me had caved in, like my 7-year marriage had just been sliced apart by an invisible blade. This couldn't be John's. I tried to convince myself, but my heart was pounding so hard it felt like it could break through my chest. 7 years married, a 5-year-old kid, and I always thought I knew him better than anyone. He's conservative, hates change, gets flustered when I even suggest trying something new in bed. A man like that. How could he be connected to something like this? But the more I thought about it, the worse it felt. The collar had been hidden well, shoved deep into a crevice beneath the seat, like someone didn't want it found. If I hadn't bent down to grab that earring, I would have never seen it. I pulled out my phone, used the image search function to look it up. The results made me almost throw the phone. Custom made for humans. My heart sank, as if I'd plunged into a bottomless pit. No way! It can't be his. But if it's not John's, then whose is it? Who the hell left that in my husband's car? I opened the car's dash cam, hoping to find some clue. But the screen showed the memory card was full. Only storing footage from 3 months ago, just a video of John taking our kid to daycare. Typical man, I thought, annoyed and disappointed. If something serious ever happened, we wouldn't even have proof. I turned on loop recording, set it to back up automatically to my phone, and took a photo of the collar, then put it back where I found it. I was going to ask him, but deep down I was scared of the answer. If it really belonged to John, then who have I been living with these past 7 years? When I pushed the door open to come back in, John was rubbing his eyes, still groggy, and asked casually, "Honey, where you headed this early?" I was taking off my shoes and answered flatly, "Dropping Ethan off at your mom's." But his face shifted, his voice shot up. "What? You went how?" I jolted, not at the question, but at the tension in his voice. Why was he reacting like that? "Of course I drove," I said, trying to sound calm. "It's freezing outside. What, you want Ethan waiting on the curb for an Uber?" But his eyes, they were sharp, bothered like I'd just done something wrong, and that sparked a fire in me. What was he afraid I saw? The collar? Today was supposed to be a rare day off. I'd planned to sleep in, enjoy some quiet. But mother-in-law called early, saying she missed her grandson, told me to bring him over. John was out cold, didn't even stir, though lately he's been working late almost every night. I didn't want to wake him. Got Ethan dressed by myself, packed his little backpack, didn't even have time for a sip of water before heading out. And now I come home to get questioned? Who would put up with that? "John, do I need your permission now to leave the house?" I snapped, my voice shaking from anger. "You got home at 3 a.m., dead tired. I wanted to let you sleep in. That's wrong too? And now you dare interrogate me?" He seemed to realize he'd gone too far. He rushed to put his hands on my shoulders, face tense. "Babe, I didn't mean it like that." But his eyes darted toward the car keys on the shoe rack, like he was checking if I'd touched something I wasn't supposed to. He was panicking, wasn't he? I brushed his hand away without saying a word, but inside, a storm was raging. He was scared I saw the collar. He folded his hands like he was begging, putting on his best innocent act. "Baby, I was dead asleep. Please forgive me, okay?" Seeing him like that calmed my rage a bit, but not enough to kill the doubt. I couldn't just let it go. I was about to ask him about the collar when he cut in, "Oh, babe, you didn't, touch anything else in the car, did you?" What are you afraid of? My heart sank, like it had brushed up against something painful. Number? Why? What else is in there, a body? I said, staring him down, trying to burn through the lies. His lashes trembled. His gaze avoided mine, fingers rubbing nervously like he always did when he was stressed. What are you hiding? Babe, you're so funny, he said with a forced laugh, sweat starting to form on his forehead. Then he leaned in, pressing his face into the curve of my neck, his breath hot against my ear. Hey, babe, since the kid's not home, maybe we could. I froze. How dare he? Ever since I gave birth, we've barely been intimate. Every time I tried to initiate, he either said he was tired or pretended to fall asleep. The last time we did anything was half a year ago, and even then it only happened because I threatened divorce. He gave in half-hearted. And now this? Now he wants to cover up whatever this is with some fake tenderness? I pushed him away. I just got back from dropping off our kid. I'm exhausted. Maybe another time. I heard John's soft sigh of relief as the bedroom door clicked shut. That sound, quiet but sharp like a needle, stabbed straight into my chest. What was he relieved about? That I hadn't asked about the collar? Or that I hadn't caught on to his lies? Half an hour later, his steady snoring drifted from the bedroom like a familiar tune that now felt strange to me. I stood in the living room, my eyes resting on the phone he'd carelessly left on the coffee table. It just sat there, unbothered, like the trust I once gave him so freely. Do I check it, or don't I? That thought coiled around my mind like a venomous snake, squeezing tighter until I could barely breathe. 7 years of marriage, and I'd never once snooped through John's phone, not even considered it. He'd always left it lying around, password set to my birthday. I used to see that as proof of absolute trust between us, I told myself. But now, that trust felt like thin glass, fragile, ready to shatter. If I opened it, would I be destroying the very thing I once took pride in? But the collar, with its lock and chain, haunted me. It didn't belong in our life. It belonged to a secret he was hiding. In the end, I picked up the phone. The second the screen lit up, my heart started pounding so hard it hurt, like each beat was a warning. Be careful. The truth might break you. I scrolled through his recent messages. Nothing out of place, no hotel bookings, no strange calls. Was I overthinking this? I asked myself, trying to smother the storm of doubt inside. But the way he reacted this morning, his darting eyes, the finger rubbing, the sweat on his brow, it wasn't fake. He's hiding something. I hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen. Then I remembered the monitoring app my best friend once told me about. Her husband had been cheating, so she paid someone to build a custom app that could sync all his texts and track his location anytime. When she gave it to me, I'd said proudly, "I'll never need this. John would never cheat. He doesn't even add female coworkers on WhatsApp." I'd been so damn confident, so naive, and now it felt like my own words were slapping me across the face. But now I had no choice. I installed the app on his phone, each tap of my finger slicing into the trust I once had. I still hoped I was wrong. I still wanted to believe he was the man I loved. Around midnight, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. John's familiar snoring didn't come, just heavy silence filling the room. Was he awake too? Waiting for something? Suddenly, his phone screen lit up. A cold blue light slicing through the dark like an accusation. I squinted, saw him quietly changing clothes, then slipping out of the house without a word. Where was he going at midnight? I waited for the door to close, then grabbed the phone from the bedside. The monitoring app had synced a new message. "Mr. Carter, urgent issue with the project. Please return to the office immediately." Sent by Director Davis. Work? At midnight? I wanted to believe it, wanted to feel relief. Maybe I'd been wrong? But the unease inside me, like a cold hand gripping my heart, wouldn't let go. I had to know. I followed him, driving in the dark, my heart pounding. 20 minutes later, John's car stopped in front of his company's building. I almost exhaled, ready to turn around, when I saw him step out of the driver's seat, holding that collar. Under the streetlight, it gleamed, blinding, like a dare. That was it. The one I found. My heart stopped. He looked around, then hurried toward a nearby public restroom. What was he about to do? I followed, hiding in the shadows, every muscle in my body pulled tight. About 10 minutes later, a woman came out, dressed in tight leather, wearing a mask, leading a dog. I squinted, and my heart shattered. It wasn't a dog. It was John, my husband, collar locked around his neck, wearing an expression of euphoric surrender. The woman bent down and stroked his head. He immediately nuzzled against her high heels like an obedient pet. The chain jingled crisply, echoing in the quiet night like a cruel laugh mocking 7 years of marriage. This was the man I loved? The man I had a child with? I stood there, in the dark, feeling like my whole world had just collapsed. It was late at night, the silence so heavy it felt like the whole world was holding its breath, waiting for a secret to be exposed. I stood in the shadows near the public restroom, heart pounding, hearing every word they said, each sound slicing through me like a blade. "You've got guts tonight, doing it right by the company? Not scared someone's gonna see?" The woman's high-pitched laugh tore through the darkness like glass shattering. John, my husband, was swaying, panting hard. "Cameras, all the cameras are busted." He stuck out his tongue, ridiculous like some animal obsessed with a sick game. "Take your mask off, mistress? That word hit me like a punch to the chest. The man I loved, the father of my child, was begging at someone's feet? She slowly pulled down her mask with her bright red fingernails, and the streetlight lit up a face I knew. My legs gave out. I nearly collapsed. Layla Davis. My son Ethan's preschool teacher. Why her? Memories rushed back like a crashing wave. All those times John insisted on taking Ethan to school himself no matter how busy he was. I used to feel touched, thinking he wanted to share the load with me, be a devoted husband, a hands-on dad. How stupid had I been? The truth was like a sharp knife, slicing through the trust I'd had in him. Right under our child's nose, he was doing this with his teacher. A wave of nausea hit me so hard it felt like my body was trying to vomit up the disgust, choking my heart. I clutched my mouth. Don't throw up. Don't fall apart. But the disgust screamed inside me like a wild animal. I swallowed hard, eyes fixed on them. Layla's fingers twisted the chain and yanked it tight around John's neck, leaving a dark purple bruise. "Ethan's dad, you're this desperate, not scared his mom's gonna find out?" she said, voice dripping with mockery. John's face twisted, not just from pain, but pleasure. "That dead fish bitch makes me want to puke just looking at her. Can't even compare to my queen." Dead fish? That word burned through me like fire. Me, the one who raised his child, served his mother, was a dead fish to him? My chest throbbed like it was being torn apart. Layla chuckled, tapping his chin with the toe of her heel. "Then why haven't you divorced her?" "She watches the kid like a free nanny." "Still got some use?" he said coldly. "A free nanny?" I wanted to scream, to storm out and confront him, but I stayed frozen, my hands clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. What was I to him? Just a tool. And me? "What am I?" Layla asked, smug. "You're my queen," John whispered, rubbing his face against her high heels like a dog. Queen. That word stabbed me right through the heart. Layla lifted her leg and kicked him hard in the ass. John looked up, eyes glowing. "Punish the bad dog, woof woof." This was the man I'd lived with for 7 years? As their silhouettes disappeared, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I ran into the public restroom and threw up over and over like I was trying to purge the pain, the betrayal, the disgust out of my body. How could I ever have loved someone like that? I splashed cold water on my face and looked into the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot, my face pale like a ghost lingering in a grimy bathroom at midnight. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I wouldn't let them win. I searched every corner of that place, and in a janitor's closet I found a black bag. Inside were John's clothes and 2 small silver keys. Likes being a dog, huh? I grabbed the keys, walked over to the toilet and flushed them, watched the whirlpool drag them down. Along with all the blind trust I'd ever had in him, I'd give him what he wanted. I picked up his bag of clothes and walked out of that bathroom, heart heavy but mind oddly clear. Outside, John and Layla were sneaking around, avoiding the night security patrol, parading like they were enjoying their filthy little game. John, face flushed with excitement, barked now and then like some creature lost in pleasure. He actually liked this humiliation. An hour later, they were about to head back. John went straight to a utility pole next to the company building, partly hidden from the streetlight. They went at each other like animals, like it was the most natural thing in the world. He had no shame left. Layla pulled her dress down, casually locking the leash to the pole. "You filthy dog, wait here. I'll go get the keys." Woof! John bared his teeth, tongue out, eyes filled with joy. He liked being exposed like this. I smirked, a cold smile. "Go ahead, laugh. You won't be laughing soon." 10 minutes later, Layla came running out, face pale. "John, they're gone. The clothes and the keys, everything's missing." John's face went ghost white, his whole body shaking, not from pleasure, but fear. "No way. Look again. Maybe you missed a spot." Layla stomped her foot. "I searched everything, even opened the damn toilet. Damn it, who the hell took them?" John yanked at the chain like a madman, but it was too tight, didn't budge. "What do we do now?" "No key. How the hell do we get this off?" His voice cracked, almost sobbing. "Scared now, huh?" I calmly adjusted my camera focus, zooming in on every detail. The sweat dripping down his forehead, Layla's trembling fingers, the red mark on John's neck. It was all evidence. I uploaded it online with the location tag and a few keywords, like dropping a stone into still water. After 10 more minutes of struggling, the chain held firm. Layla clenched her jaw, grabbed a rock from the ground. "John, I'll smash the lock. I'll get you out." The pole was too thick, the chain wrapped tight, the lock pressed right up against his neck, his head pinned to the post. Just be careful. Don't hit the wrong spot," John yelled, voice full of panic. Layla took a breath, squinted to aim, but her hand shook at the last second. The rock hit, and John's agonized scream echoed in every direction. "Damn it, where the hell did you hit me?" Blood ran down from his forehead to his cheek, his jaw clenched, eyes wild. Layla stayed calm. "If I don't hit hard, how do you expect me to break the lock? Want me to try again or not? I'll just leave then." She pretended to turn away. "No!" John cried after her, voice trembling like a child. Just aim right this time." He was still clinging to this game? Layla rolled her eyes, raised the rock again, when a furious voice shouted, "What the hell are you two doing?" The rock flew again, this time hitting John square on the forehead. His scream shattered the night, like a wounded animal. Layla panicked, didn't even look back at him, and ran. "Hey, don't leave. At least leave something to cover me up," John shouted after her. But all she tossed behind was a crumpled face mask. He scrambled to grab it, fumbling, not knowing what to cover first. "This is your ending, John." I stood there in the dark, feeling like part of me had died, but another part had just come alive, stronger than ever. The security guard rushed over, eyes frozen like he'd been struck by lightning the moment he saw the scene by the utility pole. He blinked rapidly, as if trying to convince himself he wasn't hallucinating. "Director Carter?" His voice trembled with confusion. I stood in the shadows, watching my husband scramble to pull a crumpled face mask over his face, his other hand desperately trying to cover his body, like that could salvage a shred of dignity. "You've got the wrong guy. I'm not this Director Carter or whatever," John yelled, voice cracking, but the panic in his eyes gave him away. Did he really think he could deny it? The guard, honest and straightforward, didn't hesitate. He yanked the mask right off and shoved it into his pocket. John's face was filled with shame, like an animal backed into a corner. "But, Director Carter, what are you doing like this?" the guard asked hesitantly. Then he slapped his forehead like he'd just solved the nightmare in front of him. "Oh, I get it. Someone must have set you up, right? Playing a cruel prank on you?" "A prank?" I wanted to laugh out loud, but my throat was tight and bitter. "No, he chose this twisted game himself." John nodded like crazy, the chain jingling with each movement like a mocking soundtrack to his lies. Yes, that's right. "Hurry, help me unlock this damn lock." The guard walked around the pole, scratching his chin, whistling. "Man, this chain's tight, like hog-tying a pig for the slaughter." "Director Carter! This is serious! I gotta call the cops right now!" The guard pulled out his phone, but John screamed, voice cracking like a slaughtered bird, sweat pouring down his forehead like marbles. "No, don't call him." "Scared now. Huh, John? Scared the truth's about to come out? I'll pay you. Just keep this quiet." The guard's eyes lit up, a wide grin blooming across his dark face like a spring flower in a storm. "Director Carter, give me a sec. I'll go grab the right tools and get you out in no time." Money might buy his silence, but not the truth. As the guard walked away, John didn't even get a chance to breathe when the sound of rushing footsteps and excited shouting rang out from afar. "What the hell? Why are there so many people here tonight?" John gritted his teeth, panicking. He didn't expect this, did he? I'd posted everything online, photos, location, and a few keywords, like tossing a stone into a still pond. Now the waves were crashing in. A crowd gathered, flashes lighting up like curious eyes, capturing every shameful detail. John curled up like a boiled shrimp, trying to bury his face into the pole like he could disappear. "Think you can hide now?" "Look at that! Hottest news of the week!" "Damn, what even is this? Cosplay? With a pole?" "Keep those likes coming, folks. It's 2 a.m. This kind of live stream doesn't come easy." "Turn around, dude! Over 10,000 people waiting to see your face." The crowd roared, a chorus of ridicule. I had underestimated how far people would go to rubberneck, I thought, a cold smile flashing across my face. "But John, you were the one who put yourself in this glass box." When the guard came back with bolt cutters, he was stunned, couldn't even push through the crowd. Someone had brought a ladder just to keep their camera from being blocked. They weren't here to help. They came to watch him fall apart. This pathetic spectacle finally forced the police to step in. When the firefighters cut the chain, John collapsed like a beast with no strength left. His pride scattered under the streetlight. The next day, he and the pole made the evening news together. I'd thought that would be the end of him, I told myself, but deep down I knew this story wasn't over. At the hospital room, John sat with bandages on his forehead, pale as a ghost, slouched at the edge of the bed like some poor victim. On camera, his eyes were red, voice choked up. "I really don't know who I offended. I was just stopping by the office to grab some papers, and before I could even get to the door, I got knocked out from behind." He paused, like he was holding back overwhelming shame. "You're a good actor, John." When I came to, I was all ready. He let out a dry laugh, shook his head, and forced a crooked smile. "The nearby cameras happen to be broken too. The police say it'll be hard to collect evidence." "Broken cameras? That's what you told her so she'd take off the mask. And now you're using that same excuse to build your victim story." "I don't want to press charges. Maybe the person just acted out in the moment. I don't want this to affect my family." When he said family, the tears fell, like a seasoned performer. Please, everyone, if you want to mock someone, mock me. My wife and kid are innocent. My company has nothing to do with this. You dare bring me and our child into this? My chest tightened, not from pain, but from rage. You're using this family to cover up your betrayal. As soon as the interview aired, public opinion flipped. Comments poured in. Made me cry, that last line, asking not to drag his family into it, straight to the heart. A real man. I went to school with him. He truly loved his family. He must have been set up. And the person even waited until the cameras were broken before striking. The more I think about it, the scarier it gets. Who did he piss off? One person questioned, if this was revenge, why not press charges? Dropping it like this is suspicious, but the comment quickly got buried. They believed him, but I didn't. John's company jumped on the sympathy train, releasing a statement. Given the incident Mr. John has faced, the company is granting him 1 month of paid leave and increasing campus security. Attached are photos of Mr. Carter's Employee Excellence Awards from recent years. John opened a personal social media account and posted his first video from the hospital bed. Weak but full of strength, he shared how to cope with online bullying. The video got over 1 million likes with floods of supportive comments. How ironic, I thought, turning off my phone. It felt like the whole world was falling for his lies. A cheating husband turned overnight into the internet's most pitiful victim. But this irony works for me. Ever since our son was born, John made me quit work to stay home full-time. With no stable income, it'd be hard for me to win custody if we divorced. I need time, I told myself, the fire inside me burning stronger than ever. Let the bullet fly a little farther. The higher he climbs, the harder he'll fall. I won't let him win. I'll take back my life, one step at a time. John really was the type to forget pain the moment the scab formed. The wounds on his neck hadn't even healed yet, those bruises still marking his skin, and he was already unable to hold back his urges. Less than 2 weeks after the utility pole incident, the monitoring app on my phone lit up again, alerting me to messages between him and Layla. "Baby, I miss you like crazy. I want your love so bad," he wrote. Love? That word cut straight through me like a razor blade. He called that sick obsession love? Aren't you scared your wife will get suspicious? Isn't she home taking care of you every day now? Layla replied. That pig? Ha, she's still crying over my injuries like some weepy fool. Dumb as a brick, John shot back, his tone full of contempt. Pig? So dumb it's pathetic? I gripped my phone tighter, my nails digging deep into my palms. The anger flared, but I held it down, letting a cold smile rise instead. You think I'm stupid, John? Go ahead and think that. You naughty boy, then I'll have to punish you real good, Layla replied. Tomorrow I'll drop Ethan off early, then let's meet at the parking lot, okay? We haven't tried it at my school yet. At Bright Futures. Preschool. Our son's school. Another wave of nausea crashed over me like a storm. Right after our kid walked through those gates, his dad would be getting dragged off by his teacher to play some sick dog training game? That image was a needle driving into my chest, making me want to scream, to tear everything apart. But I didn't. I couldn't let emotion drown me. Even after the lesson in the car, John still wasn't satisfied. He leaned in and whispered something in Layla's ear that made her freeze. You're going that far? What if we get caught? She gasped. His face flushed red with excitement. Relax. I already checked. It's an abandoned factory. No people, no cameras. Abandoned factory. I nearly laughed. You really think you're clever, huh? Layla hesitated. Maybe we shouldn't, it's getting too freaky. But John knew how to lure her. Don't you want that bag? After we're done, it's yours. Layla's eyes lit up. Then I'll give you so much love. I'm begging you, go as rough as you can. he replied, voice trembling with eagerness. As rough as you can? I let out a low laugh, cold and hollow in the quiet room. After all this time, the trap was finally ready to spring. His betrayal didn't even hurt me anymore. I was going to make him pay John. And this time, there'd be no escape. 2 days later, early Saturday morning, before the sun had even fully risen, John snuck out of bed like a thief in his own home. "Where you off to so early, hun?" I asked, pretending to be groggy, rubbing my eyes. With his back to me while changing, his voice practically buzzed with excitement. "Meeting some buddies to fish at Lake Washington." "Fishing?" I almost burst out laughing. He still thought I believed any of this? "Be careful out there," I said sweetly, though inside I was ice. "Yeah, you get some more rest. I'll bring home a big one tonight," he said, kissed my forehead, and left. "A big one? You're the one swimming right into my net." As the door shut, I got up and stepped into the bathroom. In the mirror, I carefully adjusted my expression. Eyes slightly red, like I'd just cried, lips trembling, like I was scared. I'd practiced this moment 100 times, I told myself, staring at my reflection. I wasn't the blind wife anymore. I was the one who'd make him pay. At the police station, I burst in, still wearing my flip-flops, didn't even change shoes. "Officer, please help. My husband's been kidnapped." I shoved my phone toward the officer, my voice trembling. On the screen was dash cam footage, carefully edited. John tied up like a hog-tied calf, struggling in a car trunk while Layla drove, black leather jacket, baseball cap, face mask, looking exactly like a wanted criminal. I was ready, I thought, as my tears fell right on cue like a seasoned actress. I called him over 10 times. His phone's been off all day. "You think you can hide forever, John? He was even attacked right outside his office last time. What if it's the same person again?" I sobbed, clutching the officer's sleeve. "Officer, please, our child is still so young. We can't lose him." The officer's face turned serious. John's bruised face on video, paired with Layla's bizarre getup, was enough to convince anyone this was a real abduction. Sirens wailed across the early morning streets. I sat in the back of the squad car, watching the scenery race by outside the window. The couple's phones were still off. By now they were probably lost in their sick game, unaware of the world. I gripped my phone tightly, my heart pounding, not from fear, but from adrenaline. It's almost time so close now I'd set the trap, and the bullet was chambered. This time, I'd be the one to finish it. Inside the scrap metal factory in Cascade Ridge, the air was thick with the smell of rust and decay. When the police broke down the door, the sound of splintering wood rang out like a declaration of victory. In front of them was John, completely naked, tied tightly to a rusted iron pillar like an animal chained inside a cage. He really does have a thing for poles, I thought, a cold smile flickering across my face. Layla stood there, holding a leather whip high, her eyes gleaming with twisted dominance. "Crack!" A fresh, red lash marked John's body, each welt a stamp of his betrayal. Every strike was another lie he'd told me. "Don't move! Police!" The officer's shout sliced through the night. Layla jumped, the whip clattering to the floor like her entire world had just collapsed. 2 officers charged in, slamming her to the ground, dust flying everywhere. When John's eyes met mine, they bulged in shock like they might pop out. His mouth was stuffed with a sock, and all he could do was let out muffled, strangled grunts, like a cornered animal. "You didn't expect to see me here, did you?" "Honey!" I screamed, rushing forward in perfect panic. "Don't be scared, I'm here to save you." My fingernail accidentally jabbed the fresh welt on his skin. He winced and convulsed in pain. "Hurts, doesn't it, John? Does it hurt as much as what you did to me?" I turned to Layla, pinned under the officers, and screamed, "Ms. Layla! Why you? How dare you kidnap my husband?" Layla shook her head wildly. "It wasn't a kidnapping. He begged me to do this. Ask him." I looked at John, playing the heartbroken wife flawlessly. You wanted this? He shook his head on instinct, his eyes wide with panic. Officer, look at him! I cried, tears pouring like he'd actually died. My husband said it wasn't voluntary. How many years do you get for kidnapping? 10, at least, right? Arrest her now. Layla panicked, screaming, No, I didn't. John, say something. She thrashed, but the cops held her down. Think you can get away now? I turned to John, my voice trembling. Husband? Is that real? He avoided my gaze, then slowly nodded, as if admitting the truth was stabbing himself. Finally, he confessed. But too late. See? Even my husband confirms what I said is true. I shouted, eyes cold as steel at Layla. The muffled from John's mouth grew louder, like a useless cry for help. The officers sighed and removed the sock from his mouth. Talk. What's going on here? It wasn't a kidnapping. I volunteered, he mumbled, so softly it was barely audible. Volunteered? That word was the final blade, severing the bond of our 7-year marriage. What? I staggered back, feigning utter disbelief. You're saying you volunteered to let our kid's preschool teacher tie you up? Strip you naked so she could whip you? The cops exchanged glances, unsure whether they were witnessing a crime or a kink show. John's face turned bright red. Could you keep your voice down? It's not exactly something I'm proud of. Proud? You still dare talk about pride? I screamed like a wife struck by lightning. Divorce? I want a divorce? The fury that came next wasn't acting. It was real. A betrayed wife called a pig. How could she stay calm? While the cops were distracted, I grabbed the whip from the floor and lashed it at John, right at his weak spot. Just a few strikes and he was howling in pain. Hurts, doesn't it? Does it match what I've endured? The officers rushed to stop me, but I pretended to faint from rage, eyes rolling back as I collapsed. The scene became chaos, like a tragicomic play I'd written and directed myself. The police lectured both sides, and in the end, treated it as a domestic dispute pushing for reconciliation. But John was badly injured. The doctor said he needed 3 months of recovery and a urinary catheter. That's the price he paid. Back home, John knelt before me, clutching my pant leg. Honey, I was wrong. I really know I messed up. He sobbed. It was just a moment of weakness. Please believe me. In my heart, it's only ever been you and our son. Believe you? I wanted to laugh in his face. You think a few tears could erase what I saw? I pulled out the divorce papers I'd already prepared and threw them in his face. Sign. The kid's mine. The assets are mine. You walk away with nothing. I don't need you anymore, John. No, I'd rather die than divorce, he screamed. But I pulled out my phone and played the clip from the factory. You sure? Want me to help you go viral? CEO of Carter Enterprises caught tied up by preschool teacher? How's that for a headline? I held the truth, and I'd use it to end him. In the end, John agreed to the divorce, but begged to keep half the savings and the house, while I kept custody. Satisfied? I wasn't just satisfied. I'd won. For the past month, I'd been quietly transferring money from our joint account into a 529 college savings plan for our son. Can't touch it till he turns 18. When John saw the balance, he almost lost it, but since it was for our kid, he shut up. He didn't know I had an even bigger secret. All this time, I'd been freelancing in media, saving up a decent chunk, originally to surprise him for his birthday. Now it became a gift to myself. That house? He paid the down payment, took the loan, he can keep it. The things that truly mattered, my child, my freedom, and the fire inside me, I took those with me long ago. I didn't just survive his betrayal. I was reborn from it. On the day our marriage ended, the sky was a deep blue, as if celebrating my liberation. John and I walked out of the county clerk's office, one in front of the other, like two lines that would never intersect again. Right then, his phone rang, the sharp tones slicing through the air. It was Layla, her screechy voice so loud I could hear every word from behind him. "John, our video got leaked online. The whole world knows now. I just lost my job." "The whole world knows?" "Good." I smiled. John spun around, eyes wide like he wanted to devour me. "You deleted the video right in front of me. You promised." He thought I'd keep a promise to a traitor? I looked him straight in the eye, my smile light as air. "Yes, I did. That's why I posted a different video." He stood frozen, stunned. I caught an Uber by the curb, tossing back, "You better check the trending topics." In the rearview mirror, I saw John glance at his phone, then lunge forward, pounding on the car window like a madman. "Sarah, you damn snake! Get out of that car!" He still thought he had the right to give orders. The driver swerved hard, sending John face first into the pavement. "Pfft! What a lowlife! I drive divorced folks every damn day, seen too many of these," the driver muttered. I smiled and opened Twitter. #1 trending topic: the truth behind the CEO's pole chaining incident. It was the full footage from that night, John chained to the pole, barking like an animal. Comments exploded. "Holy crap! His performance was Oscar-worthy. The Academy owes Mr. Carter a trophy." I knew something was off. The collar was clearly custom-made. Didn't expect a second twist. "Same collars on Amazon now. Search Layla's pet dog. Get 10% off with promo code." The world saw you, John. And I was the one who opened the door. I turned off my phone and exhaled like I had finally shrugged off a weight that had pressed on my chest for 7 years. John's company reacted fast, issuing a statement that same night. "By emergency board decision, Mr. John is officially removed from all positions within the company effective immediately." He lost everything, just like I wanted. That house he fought to keep? In his current state, how would he afford the mortgage? But that wasn't the last gift. I'd been watching him through the dashcam. John loved his car so stupidly much he did everything in it and told it all his secrets. From flirting with Layla, shady client deals, to calls with his mom about hiding assets. He thought he was slick, but I knew everything. I found the hidden safe behind the oil painting in his study, stacked with gold bars worth millions. He'd told me the company was struggling, only giving me $5,000 a month, while hoarding a fortune. When I saw the gold, I almost cried, not from pain, but joy. "This is the gift you left me, right, John?" I moved all of it out, to my new house. He'll never know until it's too late. Layla and John moved in together, 2 wounded animals hiding in a house with no value left. After being fired, the viral video wrecked their reputation. They didn't dare show their faces in public. They got what they deserved. On the 3rd day, the doorbell rang. John thought it was food delivery, but when he opened the door, 3 tall men barged in. The one in front, arms covered in tattoos, flopped onto the couch and looked down at John. "You, John?" John, who'd been bottling it all up, exploded. "Who the hell are you? You can't just barge in here. I'll call the cops." He still thought he had control? The tattooed guy laughed loudly, clapping his hands. 2 others pinned John down, face first. Layla stumbled out, rubbing her eyes, then went pale. "Mike Russo." John's eyes bulged. "You 2 know each other?" Mike stomped hard on his back, sneering. "I'm her legally registered husband. You 2 filthy dogs had fun, huh?" "Legal husband?" I almost laughed behind my camera screen. "Layla, you're a traitor too." Mike slapped Layla over a dozen times, blood trickling from her lips. "You bitch! I'm still serving time in prison and you're already out here chasing dick?" He spat in her face. "Kinky stuff, huh? Utility poles and all?" The 2 goons beat John mercilessly, aiming for his weakest points. I should have felt bad, but all I felt was satisfaction. John cried out, "Stop! I'll give you money!" Mike stomped his hand. "Where?" John sobbed. I'll go get it." Mike dragged him to the study. John stared at the empty safe, face white as a sheet. He'd figured it out. "My money's gone! I have to call the cops!" he screamed. Call your mama's ass. Mike punched his gut. You think you can mess with me? The blows came down like rain. John could only groan, barely conscious. Mike! Shit! He's about to croak, one goon muttered, stopping in panic. Mike cursed and signaled them to stop. They ransacked the house, took all the cash and valuables, and got ready to leave. Before going, Mike beat Layla again. But when they opened the door, a black gun barrel stared them down. Police! Don't move! I had called them. Watching through the camera, I saw John get beaten, and though it felt good, I couldn't let him die. In the interrogation room, Mike confessed everything. He was Layla's legal husband, just out of prison after a conviction for aggravated assault. He tried to reach her, but was blocked. Then a hot video surfaced, uncensored clip of a corporate exec and preschool teacher. Comments quickly uncovered their address. I didn't post that comment, I just paid for the algorithm to push the video to the right people. When the news of John's death came, I was playing puzzles with our son. His injuries were too severe. He didn't make it. Layla survived, but with a shattered pelvis, bound to a wheelchair for life. My ex-mother-in-law, upon hearing her son had died, rushed to the hospital, tried to beat Layla with an IV pole, but suffered a stroke midway and was left paralyzed. Mike got 15 years for manslaughter. They all paid. My son, John's sole legal heir, reclaimed the house after fate came full circle. But I didn't want it anymore. I had the gold, my freedom, and my son. I had already stepped out from John's shadow.